Hey, 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 it is an unstoppable day. Welcome to another episode of the Unstoppable Story Show, where we talk to ordinary people with unstoppable stories. So glad that you are here for this special edition of the Unstoppable Story Show because we are talking about the 21 days of great gratitude. 21 days of gratitude on the Unstoppable Story Show. And we are spending the next 21 days helping people have an attitude of gratitude. What do I mean by that? Taking time out of your busy schedule, for which we all seem to have in this crazy, crazy world that we live in these days. But taking a moment, taking the opportunity to just be grateful and to think about those things that you may be taking for granted. I do this each and every year, and I just love how I've continued to find new things to be grateful for, like grateful for new audiences, grateful for new people that get a chance to experience the Unstoppable Story Show, maybe for the first time, or to experience it again, like my buddy Jeff Martinet, the internationally known Make Every Second Count speaker. If you missed his show last week, then go on over to the Facebook page for Unstoppable Stories and you can catch the replay. He gave some powerful reasons why he was grateful. And hopefully, as you watch me talk about gratitude and you hear some of our special guests talk about gratitude, then you too will find a reason to be grateful too. Well, I've got someone tonight that has a lot of gratitude, and he's going to share a couple of things that he's grateful for as well. And I'm grateful for new opportunities, and I'm grateful for new encounters. And I had the opportunity to encounter this gentleman in Florida couple of months ago at an event that was going on down here that I just happened to be with my partner in crime, Brenda Ringwood of the BTBY family, helping everybody become a better you and a better version of themselves. And I met this guy, and he was larger than life. And when I first saw him, I saw his cowboy hat, and I said, "This large dude must be from Texas." But he ain't. He's actually from somewhere that's even more exotic, even more translucent, and even more befitting of his character. He's from the Big Island of Hawaii, you guys, and he goes by the name Royal Kye. And guys, when you meet this guy, you're just gonna fall in love for him. He looks just a little bit better than me, just a little bit, just a little bit. But you know what? He's got a heart that is full of gold. So let's welcome for the first time to the Unstoppable Story Show my new friend, Mr. Royal Kye Funk.
What's
Hey,
up?
Royal Kye, how are you,
Hey,
sir?
Terrence. Man, I'm so good. I'm grateful. I'm blessed, man. I appreciate the invite on the show, and I really love what you're doing. And the 21 Days of Gratitude is fantastic. You know,
Well, you know what? I appreciate you took a little bit of time on the Big Island, hanging out in your Audi, chilling in your Audi, to take a little bit of time to come talk about gratitude on the Unstoppable Story Show. But now, Royal Kai, here's what I know. You know what? I could read your bio, I could read your website, I could read everything that's out there to read about you, but nobody can talk about themselves better than the person themselves. So how about you
mm,
take 30 seconds and really let us know who Royal Kai Funk is?
awesome. All about it. Yeah. So I'm an author and inspirational speaker known as the Miracle Man. I had a near-death experience in 2017 where I died. I went to heaven. I met God, and He brought me back to life. And yeah, since then, I've been sharing my story and my message of empowerment and resiliency and letting people know that they are only one miracle away from a better life, one decision, one action, one choice, and then your entire life can change. And so, really thinking in that realm and knowing that life is special and it can be taken away like that. And so, living each day with this deep sense of gratitude and that we all have a purpose and a mission here and that God knows us intimately is what my message
Wow.
is.
So you know what? We just can't let that statement that you made brush by and not really expound upon it. You had a brush with death and you met God?
Yeah, man, 100%. Went to heaven. I was chilling with God for a bit. Heaven's real. God is real. And I didn't want to come back. And he's like, you got to go back, bro. And I'm like, no, man, I ain't going back. Like, no, the world's crazy, dude. And he's like, no, you have to go back. You have a mission to fulfill. And so I argued with God for a little bit. I really did. Good thing he has a great sense of humor. And, I was in a really gnarly motorcycle accident. I hit a cement barrier going 30 miles an hour head first without a helmet. And so, blah, my jaw was ripped in half and it separated from my skull on the left side. My entire right side of my face was completely shattered and caved in. I had massive internal bleeding in my brain, my kidney, my spleen, three shattered ribs, shattered scapula, broken arm, two fractures and three torn ligaments. And, that's why I'm called the Miracle Man, because I had a blunt force trauma impact on a motorcycle without a helmet. And I'm here to walk and talk, and I don't have a traumatic brain injury and nothing. So it's just a miracle.
Yeah, I would say that definitely qualifies as one of the miracles. Uh, 30 miles an hour motorcycle. How old were you when this happened, or how long ago was this when this happened?
This was in 2017. I'd been a federal firefighter for over a decade on engines, hand crews, helicopter attack crews. I got out of that, got into sales and business, and I got recruited into a corporate finance firm. I was in finance at the time. I had PTSD. I didn't recognize it. I didn't know it. And I was just drinking because I was so broken as a man. So I left on the motorcycle and I'd been drinking and to go get a pizza. I went to go get a pepperoni pizza and it changed my entire life. And I'm grateful for it. I truly am grateful because it allowed me to understand what is truly the most important thing in life. It's not money, it's not materialism, it's friendships, it's growth, it's resiliency, it's God's love. It's that we have a plan for our lives, and God can take our tragedy and our trauma and our trash and he can transmute it into treasure. He can take your garbage and take it into gold. And so that's what I'm here to tell people, that if you're in a difficult situation or place, you don't have to stay there. You can have a better life and really allow God into your heart and transform your life with effort. And it can happen really quickly.
I love it. You know what? And you know what? Why don't we just dive a little bit deeper into that, Royal Kye? We're hanging out with Royal Kye Funk. He's telling a marvelous story, a miraculous story, if I dare say, on the Unstoppable Story Show, the 21 Days of Gratitude. And so let's talk about what you're grateful for today. And I asked you off air, and one of the
Mhm.
things you said is what you were just talking about, that you are grateful for God. Now, before you
Yeah.
expound upon that, let me ask you, before the accidents where you were a firefighter and you were going through some things which ultimately led you getting into this accident on the motorcycle
Hmm.
and dying and going to actually meet God, were you a fan of God? Were you a believer in God before all this happened?
Yeah, I was angry at God. I grew up in hyper religion where God was angry and he wanted to send you to hell and we're all sinners. And so I was angry at God. I'm like, I don't want to be a part of that. That sounds terrible. I don't want to have like somebody that's like, you're a sinner, you're going to hell. And I didn't want anything to do with God. And then when I went to heaven and hung out for a little bit, it was the most amazing feeling that you could ever like experience. There's no experience in this life that even equates to the perfection, the peace, the serenity, the love that is there in heaven. And when my soul, my consciousness, my spirit was there, I was so elated. I was ecstatic. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm going to stay here. Yes. And then this voice comes to me and it's this perfect white bliss, and it says you can't stay here, you have to go back. And I was like, no, bro, no, I ain't no way. There's a bunch of crazy bastards down there. I'm one of them. I ain't going back, bro. Like I'm home. And I knew I was home. And then the voice says, you have to go back, you can't stay here. And I'm arguing with God. I'm like, nah, bro, like good luck. And on the third time when he says you have to go back, I see my body in this bloody mangled mess of destruction, right? My jaw was busted in half. It was ripped from my skull. My entire right side of my face was shattered. It looked like a murder scene. There was blood everywhere. I'm about to asphyxiate in my own blood and die because my mouth was turned in such a way where the blood was hemorrhaging into my mouth.
Mm.
And I say, okay, if I have to go back, I start willing and dealing with God. I'm like, all right, bro, if I have to go back, you have to be sure that I don't have a traumatic brain injury, that I'm not paralyzed, that I'm not a vegetable. And if you save me, I'll go and do whatever you tell me to do. I'll be your man. You tell me to jump, I say how high. You say do push-ups, I say how many. But you have to teach me how to live and how to be complete as a man, because I was so broken because of childhood trauma and PTSD from federal fire operations. And we as men in society aren't allowed to feel our feelings or emotions. It's buck up, cowboy. We're, strap up your boots. Like, you can't feel your feelings and emotions, and it comes out in other nefarious ways. So that's why I was drinking, because I was so numb. So I'm
That's a
grateful for
hell of a
God.
story. Yeah, especially as men, like you said, we're trained from young boys to be self-made,
Mm,
self-made. Even though I don't
yeah.
know anyone that's been made by themselves, somebody had to
Mm-mm.
be either there before or during to get you to the point of where you are right now. And then that other analogy that you just shared, being able to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. Well, you know what? Who helped you put on the boots so that you could get to the straps?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can tell me better because you did firefighting, but I would always look at the firefighting shows on TV, and the alarm goes off, and all the firemen slide down the pole, and they're able to jump in their boots without doing anything. And I just didn't see that being real. I still have to put one shoe on at a time, and I think every man that I know does it the same way. So how do you go about pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps without that help? Without that help from God and the people that He places in front of you to help you get to where you need to go.
Yeah.
So
You
now I
don't.
know that.
You don't. I mean, like,
Yeah,
that's the thing, is like, we as men is like, I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna do it by myself. It's like, we were not built or made to be by ourselves. We were
no,
meant to be in communities, and we were meant to have God to guide and direct our lives. And He's real. Heaven's real. It's amazing. I didn't want to come back. Some days when it's difficult, I'm like, dude, why am I here? Like, I just want to go back to heaven, right? But I know I'm here to share the truth of my experiences. And we as men have to start talking about our feelings and our emotions, and learn tools and techniques to be able to discharge the trauma, connect with our physiology, connect with our body, and feel safe. Because I was drinking and drugging because I didn't know how to communicate my feelings or my emotions, and I was just bottling everything down. I was so angry. I was a cage fighter back in the day. I was a state champion wrestler. I was just like, nobody's gonna mess with me. Like, if this is the society we live in and I have to be tough, I'm gonna be the toughest. And it caused a massive amount of wreckage and pain and destruction in my life. And so that's what I'm here to share with other men. It's like, hey, it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to feel your feelings. Life is difficult, life is challenging, and we go through feelings and emotions just like everybody else, and to be real with them.
so after having that conversation, that argument with God, where He ultimately won, and you're back,
Yeah.
how has the attitude of gratitude for God changed your life?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, what I say when I'm working with my clients is, gratitude is the key that unlocks the universe. If we're not grateful for what we have now, why would God give us any more? If we're not grateful for the things that we have, or our friends or our family or the situations, why would God give us anything else? Why would we experience something different? And so, if you look at gratitude on an emotional frequency scale, every emotion has an associated frequency with it, an energetic signature. And if you're looking at gratitude, it's a really high energy, it's a higher elevated emotion. And when we're in gratitude, it literally releases good chemicals in our body. So it's rebuilding, repairing, regrowing, as compared to if I'm stressed, if I'm angry or jealous or mad, whatever, it's releasing cortisol. It's making the body more rigid. And so there's a massive amount of physiological and psychological benefits to it. But my attitude is, yeah, thank you for life. My jaw. Have you ever, let me ask you this question. Have you ever been grateful for your jaw and you've said, I'm so grateful for my jaw today? Probably not. But if you get your
No.
jaw busted in half and it's wired shut for 8.5 weeks, and you're drinking every single meal out of a straw, and you're talking like this, all of a sudden you're like, man, I'm so grateful for my jaw. And it's not until we go through difficult or challenging situations that we understand how amazing gratitude is. And we're like, man, I was really taking that for granted. I was really taking my life for granted. I was really taking my talents and abilities that God gave me for granted. I thought it was all about me. Me. Look at me. Look at, and God's like, no, I gave these things to you so that you could share them with other people, so that you can help other people. It's about helping. And I understand that now, but I was very lost and broken as a man. And so that's the whole point of the mission and my book and all the things that I'm involved in.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, and you said gratitude is the key that unlocks the universe. I mean, that is so powerful. When I just think about all the times when I take the time to be grateful, all those endorphins, all that cortisol, all the good feelings, they just overtake me. And, when I go to church and I hear this song called Grateful, and I may
Mm-hmm.
not sing any other song that they sing that day, but I'm standing up and I'm clapping and I'm raising my hands because I'm just so grateful. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful for the amount of time that He's allowed me to walk this earth. I'm so grateful for running into great people like you that are
Mm-hmm.
expressions of God in a different form and in a different fashion. There's so many things that we can be grateful for. And
Mm-hmm.
that is the key to unlocking our mind to the other things that God has in store for us. So
Mm-hmm.
that is a powerful
Amen.
message. I'm going to give you credit for it three times, Royal Kye, and then it's going to be mine in the next
All right, it's in the
presentation.
book. I got it coined, so I mean it's. But no,
Okay,
you
so
good, bro.
I'll talk about your book too, and we can talk about your book on the other side as well. But
Yeah.
hey, guys, you're watching the Unstoppable Story Show 21 Days of Gratitude with Royal Kye. Now, it's sponsored by BTBY, Becoming the Better You. Great organization, of which one of the things we do is called the Becoming the Best Speaker Academy. 8-week program to help you go from just being an average communicator to a better communicator to the best version of yourself as a speaker that you can be. We got another class coming up real soon, so just take a second and check out what we're doing at BTBS. Welcome back to the Unstoppable Story Show. Yes, BTBS, Becoming the Best Speaker, one of the proud sponsors of the Unstoppable Story Show. You see the link at the bottom. If you're interested in becoming the best speaker that you can be, then go on over to www.becomingthebestspeaker, btbspeaker.com, btbspeaker.com, and you can get more information and how you can sign up for the next set of classes. Thanks for joining us. We're still chopping it up with Royal Kye Funk. He's grateful for God and he is doing some big things in the world with his clients to have them be more aware of what it's like to be grateful. Now, you mentioned a little bit about your book before we went to commercial break. Tell us about the book.
Yeah. So first off, I really love what you're doing. I mean, it's really amazing. You and BTBY and Brenda, you guys are fantastic. I'm so grateful to have met you guys and really connected with you. It's been, you know, fantastic stuff. And so
Well,
the
thank
book,
you.
yeah, you're welcome. So the book is called The Miracle Man, and it is, I call it a tome of transformation. It's supernatural experiences here in Hawaii, mystical encounters in Europe, adventures in Mexico, my near-death experience, and all the experience that I've learned in my life. And God channeled it through me. It's stranger than fiction. We're adapting it into a movie production, and it is all about resiliency and empowerment and how our perspective really determines our reality. So I want you to imagine if you have some glasses on and
Like I
they're
do.
Yeah, I'll say if you do, yeah. I'm just gonna awesome.
Don't have to
I
imagine it. I'm actually doing
yeah,
it.
no, you're wearing it. Normally, normally people aren't wearing glasses. I didn't realize it. I'm like, that's just what I'm saying and going into. So the glasses are tinged with the perspective of anger or separation or disempowerment or sorrow or greed or jealousy. No matter where you go in the world, that's what you will see. Until you first become number one aware of what lens you're viewing, you can't change the lens to something of gratitude or joy or empowerment because you're looking at yourself in the world through something that isn't accurate. It isn't actually who you are. It's something that you've adopted, and more likely than not, it's through a trauma lens or experiences that have disempowered you. So it's a nonfiction self mastery and spirituality book, 15 amazing chapters. As the reader is reading through it, I share authentically and vulnerably about everything in my life. And as the reader's going through it, it allows them to be authentic and vulnerable for themselves so that they can have this transformation. I also have a coaching course with it. It's 3 months, weekly calls, and people are having this massive, massive transformation in what I'm sharing. I've literally had to go through bone breaking, heartbreaking, soul shattering experiences through my life to understand how to discharge trauma, how to become more resilient, how to become empowered. And I went to, therapy for years. I went to rehab. I went to men's groups. I went to all these things and I spent tens of thousands and thousands of dollars. And I didn't understand these things until I one and everything started clicking. And so that's what I help people out with.
I love it. And so we'll have to talk more about how they can get a copy of that book, or we can get in contact with you to get more information about your coaching program. But that leads us into the second thing that you said you were grateful for, and that's
Mm-hmm.
grateful for the miracles. Now, it
Mm-hmm.
sounds like a lot of things have happened since that miraculous encounter with God. And I like to
Mm-hmm.
call it here at Unstoppable Stories, we call those defining moments. But
Mm-hmm.
miracle is just as powerful of a word. So
Yeah.
why are you so grateful for miracles?
I'm so grateful for miracles. This is the kicker. So after the experience, right? I meet God, I go to heaven, he brings me back. I wake up in the hospital a day later and I realize what happened. I realized that it was my fault. I went and to try to go get a pizza and I wrecked my life, so it seemed. And because of the alcohol in my system, I the insurance company denied everything. They denied all the bills were
Oh,
put on
goodness.
me, and I had a bill for $500,000. So I went through bankruptcy, I went through divorce, I lost my job, and I was so broken as a man in the lowest point of my life, realizing that I had created that. And I completely surrendered my life to God, and I said, dude, you have to help me. I messed up. Teach me how to heal and become empowered so that I can share this with other people. And so I was in the hospital for 2 days, for 2 weeks, and then I was working out 3 months later. Every single doctor's like, dude, how is this possible? How are you physically healing this rapidly? I'm like, man, I know how we can heal. I know how we can get people empowered. And so the miracles are being grateful for the little things, being grateful for the breath of life, as we call it here in Hawaii. Ha, aloha, the sacred breath of life, for being grateful for the simple things because miracles happen when we have faith and we take a little bit of action, right? When it's like a miracle, it doesn't have to be some life transforming thing where you go to heaven and meet God. It can be this miracle of, wow, I'm so grateful for my life and I realize how blessed I am and how much God has really like taken care of me in my life. That's a miracle. I'm grateful for the beautiful earth that we live on. That's a little bit of a miracle. And so the little things keep the energy and the momentum going because an object in motion stays in motion. If somebody's been angry and not grateful and just sour for a really long time, it's going to take them a minute to build up momentum and be like, man, what am I really grateful for? Because that's their habitual state. So it's really being grateful for the miracles and for God. And this is my mantra recently, and this is what I help my clients out with is like, give me the eyes to see, the ears to hear, and the heart to feel. Tell me what you want me to do. Because there's good, better, and best. I was doing good at one time. I was making a lot of money. I thought I was, in a great spot, but I was really broken. I was disconnected. I was listening to what the world wanted me to do. And then there's better, but then there's best. And the best is listening to what God has planned for us, our talents, our abilities, our skills, the things that he puts on our heart, our desires are what he wants to fulfill for us as we walk in faith and we say, okay, teach me, show me, because I know you have something way better for me. I never thought I would be in Hawaii. I was literally called here with God on the island in 2021, and it completely transformed my entire life. And it was a miracle. I'm just like, how did I end up here? People are like, how'd you end up in Hawaii? I'm like, well, if you go through a near death experience and die and meet God and go through divorce and bankruptcy and all these things and build yourself up from nothing, maybe you'll get an invite. Like they're like, well, I don't know about that. Maybe I won't live in Hawaii.
Yeah, and when you think about it, when people taking things for granted, people would die to be in a place that you literally died to end up at.
Yeah,
Somebody's
yeah.
going to get that when they watch the replay.
Hmm. Yeah,
Many
that's
people would die to be in a place that you literally had to die to end up in.
mhm.
That's a
Yeah,
miracle
that's
right
deep.
there.
It is a
And
miracle.
that's when you know that people are really taking some things for granted, because even though you know what you've been through and what you've been able to accomplish right now, well, let me just ask you, would you want to go through a near death accident on a motorcycle at 30 miles an hour again?
Never. It was the
Never.
hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Like the stuff that I had to go through that was leading up to that before my life with, as you read my book, the
Yeah.
childhood trauma and the abuse and the PTSD, then that accident and then everything after, it was the hardest thing I've ever gone through. And I pray that I never have to go through anything like that again.
Right. But the miracle is, anyone who's watching this show, you don't have to go through the near death experience to connect with the miracle man. You can reach him on his social media. You can get on a plane and go to
Hmm.
the Big Island and actually do the mastermind with him.
Hmm.
You don't have to go through a near death experience to end up where Royal Kye is. All you have to do is believe in miracles and have an attitude of gratitude. Hey, Royal, I could
Yeah.
talk to you for the rest of the night, but the
Hmm.
show's only so long. How can they get in contact with Royal Kye if they want to find out more about the Miracle Man, about his book, or about his coaching program?
Yeah, so you can check me out on Instagram, The Royal Kai. You can go to my website, miraclemanjourney.com, or you can send me a text message if you're interested at 307-851-1966. And the thing that I would love to finish off with is you don't have to stay where you are. You don't have to keep searching. You don't have to keep finding all these programs or coaches or mentors. If you feel stuck, if you feel that you have a resonance with my message, I want to help you out. And I know I can help you out because I've been to the deepest, darkest depths of hell to be able to be in the peaks of paradise and share this authentically and humbly because I don't want you suffering like I did for so long. And so this is why I'm here to help you out.
I love it. And with that, we thank you, Royal Kai Funk, for spending some time with us on the Unstoppable Story Show, the 21 Days of Gratitude. We appreciate you, and we hope you continue to create miracles for everyone that you come in contact with on this journey of this continued thing called life. Thank you, my brother.
Awesome. Mahalo. Blessings. And I'm grateful for you, brother.
Grateful for you as well. Thank you so much. And you guys, this is Royal Kai Funk on the Unstoppable Story Show. Hey, if you want to be a guest and talk about what you're grateful for during these 21 days of gratitude, then just reach out to me. You can send me an email, and that email is tleffridge@unstoppablecoaching.com. And who knows, you may be the next guest on the Unstoppable Story Show, where we talk to ordinary people with unstoppable stories. And as always, wherever you are in the world today, you know what I say. Don't just make it a great day, but be grateful for everything and everyone in your life and make it an unstoppable day. Take care.